In that moment, it was that question from that person in that situation that helped me unlock this realization that I had everything that I needed. I just needed to ask myself the right questions to be able to unlock how to even get those things, how to access those things, how to have the vision to be able to see what was already right in front of me, right? It's like being able to ask yourself, what am I missing right now? What am I missing that's in front of me right now that I have access to that I'm not noticing right now? That could, you might feel like at whatever stage you're in business right now, or even life, that the thing that is preventing you from progressing, the thing that's preventing you from leveling up, the thing that is holding you down, you might even feel like you've been just stuck at a particular stage. And if you're anything like me, when I first got into business or in my early on in my sales career, whenever I would hit a wall, whenever I would get stagnant, I would always think the answer to my problems was more money, more resources, more connections, or I simply just did not have a lot of time. Basically, I needed some external thing in order to progress, in order to level up, in order to evolve, if you will. And in this video, I'm going to show you and prove to you that whatever stage you're in or whatever situation that you're in, you already have exactly what you need to be successful, exactly what you need to move forward and to win. I just want to take you guys back, share a quick story. So when I first got into business, my very first business that I did was actually in tech. It was in about 2015, 2016 or so. I made my first leap into entrepreneurship. I actually got out of alarms. When I left alarms, I didn't go straight into marketing. I didn't go straight into solar. I actually went straight into tech. I had this genius idea. I was making money in alarms. I was making a lot of money in alarms, or what I thought was a lot of money in alarms at that time. For being one of the youngest people in my office, I was the youngest person to get promoted into management at the company in that time. And so for me, because I was doing things that hadn't been done, I just thought it was so great. I thought I was making so much money. And what I know about money now, what I made now, like I wasn't making a lot of money. But for my age and for what I was doing, because I was making more and progressing faster than anybody else, like I thought I had made it, right? Anyways, I left alarms and got into tech, had this whole idea. I wanted to build this app and, do that whole thing, right? This is very much so back in, again, that 2016 era, this Gary Vee era, that startup bubble area where everybody wanted to get into tech. Everybody wanted to, to build that next Instagram, because Instagram, had launched and sold for $1 billion in 365 days. And investors were pouring in capital into like everything. So tech was just like a great opportunity. It's just like how solar or SMMA or any of that stuff, like tech was that for some time, back then. At any rate, got into tech, had this app idea that I wanted to bring into life. And I was really fortunate that early on I got into a business accelerator. In order to get into the business accelerator in the beginning, I had to do like this whole pitch thing with this round of like investors, kind of Shark Tank style. And you had to go through multiple interviews. And I remember on the last interview, you had to meet with the creator. Which, by the way, the creator of this particular accelerator, he was already famous, he was already rich, like so the accelerator had a little bit more weight to it. Like you really wanted to get into it, right? Like it was a very nerve-wracking process if to be accepted, if you were accepted at that time, at least. And so I just remember feeling like, man, like this could be it. Like this organization, this accelerator has everything I need to excel and get my business off the ground. They were giving you office space. They were giving you access to investors. They were giving you weekly business lectures and one-on-one mentorship from proven investors and proven mentors who had made money and succeeded within business. And so that they would pair you up with people who had succeeded in areas of business that were important to yours. So it was just like for an early entrepreneur, man, or for somebody who's starting off their own company, like it's truly structured in a way to where you get everything you need, right? I'm in there. I'm in the last round of interviews. I'm sitting face to face with this guy, literally like right across from him. I'm kind of sweating because I'm nervous. I got in my mind, like, look, dude, if I can get into this thing, like I'm gonna make it. Like if I don't get into this thing, like I don't have a shot. Like I'm like, I just really want it, right? So, anyways, we're sitting there, we're doing the interview, and he's asking me like, okay, how much is this app? Where's the app? That's the first thing he asked me. He was like, okay, where's the app? Can I see it? I was like, oh, we actually don't have it yet, but I'm working on a functional prototype, and we got this coming up and that coming up. And he's like, okay, well, how, and I told him, I was like, I'm trying to raise money for it and yada, yada, yada. And he's like, okay, well, how much money are you trying to raise? How much do you think it's going to cost to build out the software, the technology? And I was like, well, I've gotten a few V1 functional prototype quotes, and I think it's going to be around 60,000, right? Just to give more cushion. I can get a functional prototype done for half of that, but if I really want to make sure that, I'm making a smart investment, like 60,000. Like, I thought that even I was adding that on the end, that I had realistic expectations that it was going to like impress him. And he was like, okay, 60,000. Do you have 60,000? Like, he asked me directly, just like that, straight face. I'm like, nah. He's like, okay, well, how much have you raised from family and friends? And I was like, to be honest with you, man, I don't have that type of network where I can go get that type of money, but here's how much I put in. Here's how much I've done so far. And at that time, I was putting a great amount of what I had into running, into building it and doing everything on my own as much as I can. I had put all of my resources into it, and nothing else, and nothing else from no one else at that point. So he was just like, okay, so you have nothing and you need 60K to build an app. You don't have 60K. You can't raise it from friends and family. You can't build it because you're a technical founder and you don't know how to code. And I was just like, damn. I was like, it just felt like a shot, right? And he was like, all right, so you're a talented entrepreneur. You're a smart guy. You pitch very well. You're very well versed in sales, etc. Let me ask you this: gun to your head, gun to the head of your loved ones, your family, your friends, etc. Let's say you have 1 week to get a signed client and get a paying user for this app. From 7 days from today, what do you do? Like, how do you do that? And I was just like, oh, it was such a good question. It was such a good question at such a pivotal time. And so when I thought about it, I had to then, in the moment, like, deconstruct the app to its core features and figure out how I could basically get those features now, right? So basically, without telling you too much about the app, the core features of the apps were payments, communications, and scheduling. We basically wanted to build an app for luxury high-rise buildings that would allow tenants to use a conversational chatbot, a conversational concierge, to book different services through their apartments, like dog walking, housekeeping, and dry cleaning. And the thing about our app is it's actually a property management software that's tied in so that the leasing department and the building and maintenance and everybody can work cohesively together to make sure that the service providers have safe entry and exit from the tenant's units, and everything's locked back up. Everything is trusted. Resident doesn't have to be home. Everything is then done and billed and scheduled and done very easily. So if I'm a resident in one of our buildings that has this platform, I can not be at home, and I can make sure I know that my leasing agent is gonna like either let the housekeeper in or let the dog walker in and make sure that they left out property. Everybody who's coming in is background checked. They're going through the cameras, like that whole thing. So there's a really big convenience and trust factor, right? So that's the app in a nutshell. I could talk a lot more about it, but maybe in another video. So at any rate, again, the main point that I want to stress is, in that moment, I go, okay, well, he's like, okay, so let's how would you do this if you didn't have the app? What else could you use? Gun in your head, you got a week. And I was like, well, if I looked at the main components of the app, like, we need to be able to obviously talk to the residents. A big part of our software was going to be this concierge, white glove, like kind of chatbot, conversational commerce type of thing, which, by the way, this was well before anybody was talking about AI, guys. This is 2016. This is pre-AI, pre-chatbot, like way earlier than that type of time frame, right? So I'm like, well, technically, like, instead of having the chatbot built out, we can just use a text message line. Instead of having, for payments, we can use Stripe or PayPal, since we already have the text message. And then for scheduling, there's many different scheduling softwares that we could use to schedule, multiple parties all be tied to the same job. So we needed a scheduling software. We needed a text message line where we can mass text people, have one-on-one text, and then we needed a payment provider option, like Stripe or PayPal or something like that. These were all secondary things that I could pull in and just use. It wasn't in one app, but I could use them in one service. And so in that moment, kind of gun ahead, as he put the question in front of me, I just kind of like figured all that shit out, bro. I figured all that shit out in like 30 seconds. Mind you, I mean, this is weeks and months leading up to this moment, and I'm doing all these different things and getting all this quotes and trying to figure out how to build this app and do all these things that I don't have. How can I go get developers? How can I get money for an app? How can I, do all this shit, right? And I just thought that everything I needed was like kind of far out of reach, and I needed other things to help me get there. And so, anyways, in that moment, it was that question from that person in that situation that helped me unlock this realization that I had everything that I needed. I just needed to ask myself the right questions to be able to unlock how to even get those things, how to access those things, how to have the vision to be able to see what was already right in front of me, right? It's like being able to ask yourself, what am I missing right now? What am I missing that's in front of me right now that I have access to that I'm not noticing right now? That could help me win, that could help me get past this problem, that could help me get to the next stage in business, right? Like, yes, you can pay for coaching. Yes, you can do all these different things, but sometimes you can't do those things, right? What do you do when you can't do those things? You have to be resourceful. By definition, like the core of an entrepreneur is to use what you have, is to use what is already right in front of you. What are the tools that you already have access to? Yes, you can always go get better. You can always get a faster car. You can always get bigger guns. You can always get all these things. But sometimes you got to be able to use what's right in front of you. And the best entrepreneurs and the best companies are built from a position of what the fuck do we have right in front of us right now that we could use right now to keep going today. Okay. And so, man, I wanted to tell that part of the story in this video because that stuck with me forever. And from that moment, I always kind of use that question, gun to head. I don't have whatever the thing is I need. If somebody put a gun to my head or somebody put a gun to the head of my loved ones and said, you got 1 week to figure this problem out. No, you don't have this. You don't have the time. You don't have the money. You don't have whatever resource you think you need. But 1 week gun ahead, how do you get around that with what you have right now? And that question alone for me unlocked a lot. Think about that the next time you are stagnant, or the next time you feel like you've hit a wall, or the next time you're at a place and you just feel like, man, I'm kind of stuck right now, right? Like, ask yourself the creative questions. Those misconceptions, man, the misconceptions about you needing something that's out of your control, it keeps you paralyzed. It keeps you feeling stuck. It keeps you feeling like you can't progress. And nothing is more far from the truth. You already have exactly what you need to win. And I want to tie that into this next point because I get a lot of calls from you guys, and I've had, I don't know, hundreds of conversations with people that I've consulted with or worked with, reps that work directly for me. And the thing that I get the most when people come to me, whether they want coaching or whether they want to work for me, is, they have this immediate need to make more money. Whether it's, Rich, how do I get to 100K? How do I get to a quarter? How do I get to whatever? And it's just like, give me the thing, give me the information so I could have this result that I've never had before. And I would argue to you that the reason why you haven't made that type of money yet is because you're not that type of person to make that money. Right. And with early sales reps, new sales reps, and we all need this reminder, it doesn't matter how long you've been in business, is the reason that you haven't hit that next stage yet, the reason why you haven't hit that type of money yet, whatever it is that you're after, is that you're not doing the right things and you're not the right person that would naturally attract those type of results. Here's what I mean by that. Again, I'll use the new sales rep analogy. New sales reps, people come from a different industry. They're like, man, there's so much money in solar. Let's get into the solar thing. Solar's booming, right? So they get in and they immediately want to know, how do I make 20K a month? How do I make, 100K in a quarter, whatever the case may be, right? They want to know, how do I do the thing? Tell me how to do the thing so I can get the money, right? And over time, what I've learned is I can teach people how to do the thing all day, but if you do the thing and you're not the right person, you can never get the result. The result is at the end. The result, let's just use $1 million, for example. $1 million is at the end. So in order for me to make $1 million, I have to do the things that would earn $1 million. And in order for me to consistently do the things that would earn $1 million, I have to be the type of person first. Once I am internally the type of person who would do the type of things that would earn $1 million, then the $1 million or the money itself would naturally come just by default, because I'm the type of person that's doing the right things consistently, no matter what. And so by effect, the result is the money. Over time, man, we really stress being the person. And the more that you want to skip being the person and you just want the result, that's kind of like being fraudulent. It's kind of like stealing. It's kind of like lying, right? Like you don't want to just get $1 million. You want to be a millionaire. You want to be a person, the type of person that makes a lot of money. So you don't want to be a one-hit wonder. So don't just try to strike lightning once. Be the person. And so that's another big part of what I help people do, whether it's coaching clients or whether it's people that work for me, is along with giving them the strategy on exactly how to close more deals, exactly how to build a call center, exactly how to set better appointments, exactly how to grow or scale their business. I help them also unlock internal beliefs that are already preventing those things. Because in most cases, man, money is a energetic result. It is an emotional result, believe it or not. Energy is very real. But you have to understand, man, that this is very much an energetic and emotional game with money. It is absolutely a game. And if you have this tense energy, like I need it, need it, need it, money runs away from you the fastest when you have this desperate energy, like I need it. We've all been there, whether it's in the home or on a sales call, and we're just like, your knees bouncing. You're like, fuck, I really need to sell. I need this shit. I need this. Are they gonna buy? Those are the hardest sales. The reason why the second sale of the day or the second or third appointment of the day is so easiest to set or close is because we already have, we've already got some closes or some bookings on that day done. So then anything else is just kind of extra. We move a little bit lighter. We're walking down the street a little bit lighter. We're dialing much lighter because we don't have this energy of like, man, I need this shit to work really bad, right? A couple of different key takeaways right now. Number one, always use the question, what, to yourself. Let your subconscious mind go to work for you. You don't need to sit around stressing, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? Start to ask yourself better questions, and then stop overthinking, go do something else. And I promise you, your mind is going to go to work to fix the problems that you're facing. And the question from you to you is going to go, what am I not seeing that is in front of me right now that I have access to and total control over, that I'm missing, that could actually help me get to the next level, that could actually help me get past this problem, right? What am I not seeing? What do I need to let go of? What do I need to do more of that I'm not doing right now? What do I need to do less of that I'm not doing right now? In what areas can I change so I no longer have this problem? The subconscious mind will go to work for you to figure that type of stuff out. So key takeaway number one is the type of questions that you ask yourself to make sure that you're always winning from your own hands, right? So that's key takeaway number one. Key takeaway number two, it is an internal game. So stop thinking that the answer to everything you need is external. Before you can get the result, you have to do the things. Before you can do the things, you have to be the person internally. So back to the $1 million, because $1 million just seems like, for whatever reason, this mark that everybody wants to hit, right? If I want to hit $1 million, I have to do the type of things that would earn $1 million. That means I have to be in the right industry. That means I have to have the right type of comp plan or profit margin to where I know that I could get that in a monthly or yearly basis, right? And even before I'm doing the right activities, I've got to be the right person. Well, and what does that mean? Well, the right person, they ask themselves the right questions. They're in the right industry. They think in the right way. They work in the right way. They hang out with people in the right way. They have the right diets, right? Diet is not just about food. But more so for me, diet means what I'm consuming. What am I listening to? What am I watching? Who are the type of people that I hang around? And what type of conversations are those people? Conversations and emotions do those people bring to me on an average basis? Because once I figure out what is the common vibe from this friend group or that friend group or this person, it's either taking me up or it's taking me down. And there's no gray about that. If you ask yourself, is this person or are these friend groups helping me progress, or are they helping me digress? And if you don't immediately go progress, it's no gray area. Things are either helping you or hurting you, and you need to figure that out and get the right people on the ship and get the wrong people off the ship ASAP. And then the last key takeaway, man, is so you have some actionable things from this video, man. Do an inventory check. So write down all the things that you feel like might be causing you to feel stuck right now or stagnant right now or preventing you from getting to the next level. Do that inventory check. And then as you write them down, write down a reframe with them. How can I reframe that? Let's say if your situation is, I need more money to get, this product off of the ground or this business off of the ground or to put this money into marketing for my business, et cetera, and I don't already have it, right? Well, how can you reframe that? Think about the thing that you want, and then gun to head, How can you have that right now with what you have access to right now? It might not be the prettiest. It might not, back to my mobile app solution, it might not be that end product. You might have to stitch together 3 other softwares. It's going to be kind of a ghetto jerry rig situation, right? But does it work? Because I tell you what, when he put me in that position to see if I could get a client, because a client and a paying user within 70 days, prior to that conversation, I had nothing. I got put in a high pressure situation by a person that I had respect from, and I figured it out. I answered it, and then I went to go execute. And within 4 or 5 days, I had everything I needed, and I got into the accelerator because I could report back with that. So put yourself in that pressure situation so that you can get outside of your head. Ask the right questions. Write down what you feel like is holding you back, and then write down how you can reframe that. Okay, I don't have the money. I feel like I need money for X. Well, I don't have the money, but if gun to my head, how could I still achieve the same result? Or how could I take one step towards this thing, even without the money, within 24 hours, within 7 days? Reframe a question in every one of those scenarios that you think is limiting you right now. And then number 3, just take action towards all those things. So if you figure out, okay, what's one step that I can do today towards these things that I feel like holding me back, after you reframe that, and then go and take those steps today. You'd be surprised how quickly you can get out of that situation. Again, back to being a top entrepreneur or the best version of yourself. You want to be able to take action as quickly as possible. The difference between I've always felt like this about myself over the years. I felt like the difference between me and a lot of my peers, because again, I was in accelerators with a lot of companies. I had a lot of friends who were doing businesses. And early on, when we go back, 8 years or so ago, the difference between them and me is I was fortunate enough to be dumb enough to move very fast all the time because I didn't know shit. So I was quick. I just wanted to try everything. I wanted to just fail so fast. And to be honest, it wasn't even a strategy. I just was excited, right? I wanted to figure stuff out. I wanted to do the stuff. I was never the type of person to just sit around and, make a logo and make a website and just twiddle my thumbs. Because I came from a sales background, I knew that if in order for things to shake, like I had to move, I had to take action. In sales, we know that nothing happens unless we dial the phone, right? We have to close the deals. We've got to knock the doors. We've got to do things to make things get some movement and get some money, right? So when I brought that into tech, man, I was willing to do whatever. I was knocking doors. I was making cold calls. I was pitching investors. I was doing everything but sitting still. So taking action, man, was everything. I've been giving you guys all of the how-to. This is how you close a sale. This is how you set an appointment. I've given you all the external how-tos, and I've done you a disservice. And so outside of all of my success within sales, within solar, within marketing, etc., all these strategies are great. But the thing that moved the needle for me more than anything else, I swear to God, it was my mindset on how I looked at things. And it was all the internal things that I felt and thought about myself. And if I could bottle that up and give to you guys, I would, but I can't. But what I can do is we can take more deeper dives into the mindsets that it takes to overcome, to change your identity, to be successful. Because again, a lot of you guys might know this and might not know this about me. I know a lot of people think that because I'm put together, I speak well, that I have some type of privileged background, like I grew up in the suburbs. Man, far from the truth. You are looking at a man who had to figure everything out in life by himself. I was born from a single mom, a teenage mother. My mom had me 16 days after her 16th birthday. I promise you, nothing was handed to me. I had to figure out everything. So I'm not on here blabbing. I'm not some person with handouts who has all these different resources and wants to fabricate this and fabricate that to just try to sell you guys something. Absolutely, I have products and services, but look at my history, look at my page. I have companies. I'm gonna do well on myself regardless. At this point in my life, in addition to giving you guys that sales game, I want to give you the game that's truly going to cause that change for you in all the right ways. Doesn't matter if you're in sales, doesn't matter if you're in solar, marketing, business, etc. I'm going to give you the game that's truly going to move the needle and help you, because no matter what field I'm in, and I'm tied into a couple of different things at this point, man, these are the universal strategies and keys for every successful entrepreneur, every successful man or woman, husband, father, etc. And I think it's the most important thing. So I've done you guys a disservice by in the past, I feel like, by telling you how to do it, how to have the things without being the person first. And I think being the person first and having the right mindset and having the right internal strategies before you go and build out a sales funnel and before you go try to close deals, I feel like it's so much more important. Think about it like this for all my sports people. I ran track in college, in high school, all through my life, right? I would warm up. It would take me a total between getting treatment and physically stretching and warming up. I would warm up for an hour and a half to 2 hours just to run a 10-second race. That type of preparation before a track meet. It's the same thing here. You want to prepare before you go to battle. And again, the problem is when you want to just make the money, you click on YouTube and you want to learn all the strategies, but you can't lie to yourself. And you can do all the strategies, but you can't lie to you. So when you learn all this shit from YouTube, oh, here's how I close a deal. I learned this from this person. I learned this from that person. And now I set up a business and I got the funnels and I got the website, and you're doing all the things, but you're not the right person. It's almost like having on a costume. You can go buy a police officer costume today, but you're not a cop. You'll figure out that you're not a cop when somebody run up to you and they need help. And you're like, damn, I got all the stuff. I got the uniform, the badge, the gun. I'm even in the cop car, but I don't know what to do. So having all the stuff, having all the right strategies, but not internally knowing exactly how to navigate from a principle and a mindset perspective, it could be detrimental. And you could get lucky enough to get that money, to get that team, to get that company. And if you're not internally prepared, bro, you will lose it. This happened to far too many entrepreneurs, far too many talented people. It's not the end of you. And in most cases, it'll be the beginning. And so I want to reach out and help as many people as I possibly can change their internal paradigms, because I know a lot of my success came after I've had internal shifts, man. Yeah, I got lucky enough to jump into this industry and that industry at the right time. But when I got into the industries, I was the right person at the right time. And I want to stress that to as many people as possible. Make sure yes, you're in the right vehicle if you're in, solar or this industry or that industry, but you want to be the right person in the right vehicle in the right time. Because you can be in the right vehicle at the right time, but if internally you're not the right person, it's not going to work. You want to make $1 million, you're in solar, you got the training, you got the resources, you got all the stuff, but it's not hitting. What's missing? You can't see what's missing externally, but something internally is not there. You're not truly internally aligned with the type of person that would make $1 million. So on a conscious level, you might be like, man, I spent all this money on marketing. I spent all this money with this agency for these guys to run my Facebook ads or whatever else, and it's not panning out. And I've paid for this website, and you pay for all these things, and everything looks so pretty, and it's still not working for you because internally there is something that's not aligned. And so it is an inside job first. So if you don't go inside to make sure that I'm the type of person that would even make this thing work and make this thing work well enough to get the results, then it just isn't going to happen, right? So remember that, man. Again, if this video made you think differently, hit subscribe. I want to bring up as many people as possible, just like I was fortunate enough to be brought up by some mentors and by some coaches. And from an internal perspective, it's an inside job first. You have everything you need to win right now. And I hope this video helps somebody. And that's it.